When I was writing my erotic shorts, which are now no longer available, so anything I write and you want to read it, please get it because I will take it off the internet at any time. But when I was writing my erotic shorts, I was talking with men about sex, and mainly because I was writing from a male point of view, I wanted to be as authentic as I could be. I'm not a man. I don't know what it's like to have sex as a man. So I wanted to be able to write about it like authentically and as accurately as I could, because I know men read romance and men have problems with the way that women write men, the same way women have problems with the way that men write women. So I wanted to, bridge that gap. But what I learned from talking to men about their sexual experiences was that women deserved more. Like, that's literally what I learned, because I remember being like, okay, what does it feel like? What kind of thoughts are going through your mind? What are the sensations that are coming up? And I remember asking the question like, oh, well, what's bad sex to you? And almost universally, they were like, I don't have bad sex. What do you mean? They were like, oh, I don't have bad sex. I was like, even with the condom, they were like, yeah, it's muted, it's a lot more intense without it, but it's like, it's not bad. Like, I'll still take it over nothing. I'm like, so you've never had a bad experience? They're like, no. Interesting. Interesting. So let me get this straight. Every time a man has sex, it is amazing for him. Every single time. Every single time. Meanwhile, every woman I know has horror stories. Every woman I know has had an experience where she's just sitting there like, oh my God, I cannot wait till this is over. But no man has ever experienced that. Yeah, and that was really when I was like, we deserve more. We deserve more. We deserve better. We need to be asking for more, right? No more being nice. No more being empathetic. No more, well, he needs to learn. No more. No more of that. No more of that. And this is why, so there's this creator, his name is AG. I do not hate this man. I actually really enjoy him. I enjoy watching his videos, but he had this one TikTok where he was talking about suburban black girl crash out and how he was in a situationship with this woman, and he was like, I told her from the beginning, like, it's strictly sex, it's strictly casual, don't get attached to me, don't interrelate, none of these things. He was like, and she crashed out because she wanted this, she wanted that, and it just, that really disgusted me, but I didn't have the words to explain why. But now I do, especially after talking with men and them being like, oh, I never have bad sex, and we the good sex is far and few between. Here's what happens in sexual relationships, right? As a woman, who, where I live right now, who lives in Mississippi, where abortion access has been so highly restricted my entire life, right? I know the overturning of Roe versus Wade affects everybody now, but it has affected me for the past 30 years in Mississippi, right? And for that time, a lot of people outside of Mississippi is like, oh, that's what you get for living in Mississippi. Mind you, they never say, well, how did my family come to live in Mississippi? What forces were at play that kept my family from leaving Mississippi? So then how then was I born? And yeah, never answer those questions, right? It's just like, it's your fault you can't get an abortion. Never had access to abortion. So today, if I get pregnant and I am not in the position that I want to be in to have that child, I don't have a car. So I have to rent a car. I have to drive 15 hours to Illinois. I have to pay for an abortion. I don't even know there. I didn't even get that far to be like, is there like a 24-hour minimum that you need to wait? Like, how much is it going to be? I have to do all of these things, right? And come back to Mississippi where I can risk going to jail for having done that. That's what I'm dealing with, right? All for a man to be like, well, you shouldn't expect too much out of me, and you should give me your body in exchange for nothing. It's your fault for having high expectations of it. Meanwhile, if I do have that baby, right, risk death, risk disability. Well, I'm already disabled, but risk death and disability for bringing that child into this world. Having to make sure that child is fed and clothed and taken care of and emotionally stable and is a decent human being, right? Your risk, maybe, maybe you have to pay child support. And some women are like, oh, I don't want to put them on child support. I don't want to do that. Maybe risk having your wages garnished. Maybe if you don't pay that, maybe risk going to jail, right? Maybe. And that's a maybe. It really depends on whether or not the woman does that. And we go through this process, and I have to agree to this situation, and I don't even get to come. Like there's a chance that there's a chance that this setup happens and the sex is bad, right? But it's going to be good for you regardless. But it's going to be bad for me, and then I have to deal with the after effects of all those things by myself more than likely, because you already told me don't expect anything from you. And then I'm just supposed to consent to that, and then when you are like, oh, it doesn't benefit me anymore, you expect me to not crash out? I just think it's very interesting. I think it's very interesting. All of that combined, it just like really puts me off of dating as a whole, right? This is my first summer. I'm going to be in the streets, and I'm really going by Megan Thee Stallion's playbook. I want to be the hottest version of me that I can be possible, and completely unattainable. That is my goal. I don't want any man looking at me. I don't want a man to think he has a chance with me. Like, I really want to be vindictively the hottest person in existence. Really do. I want to. I want to be. I'm not saying Mona Lisa's the hottest thing, but you can't touch a Mona Lisa, right? That's what I want to be. All you can do is look at it. You wish you could touch it, so you could have something to say that you. But no, no. It's just like it's very angering for me because the risk is not the same, right? In that scenario, men get everything that they want, right? You always get good sex, always. You get everything that you want, and a woman gets all of the pain and the suffering and the risk. No, no, no. And then they want to crash out and be like, well, women don't want a good man. How are you a good man? How are you a good man? Right? You don't want to get to know a woman for who she is. You're just like, how quickly can I get to the hole? I don't know. I've just been upset about this for the past few days. I saw this TikTok this morning. TikTok is really feeding me. They're like, here are other women who are upset. But there was this woman who was like, yeah, last summer I gave every man who approached me a shot, and he wanted the same three things. They wanted intimacy as quickly as possible. They wanted labor, and they wanted favors. All of them. All of them. And she was like, where's the good man when all he wants is like, oh, what can you give me? What can you give me? What can you give me? But he's not willing to give anything himself. Right. What's the point of engaging in intimacy with you when I can risk dying, going to jail, and it's not even good? Yeah. I think for me, my options are like getting a habit, joining a nunnery. I feel like those are my options right now. Cause I'm just so disgusted. I'm so disgusted. Even with like the men I know in my life, like I cannot tell you, when I was dating my ex-husband, we were together for 9 years, the amount of friends he had who told him that he was spoiling me, he was treating me too nice. Um, I needed to do more. They were like, oh, she has her own money. She could take care of herself. She could do this, she could do that. And I think most of it was like, yeah, misogyny. I also think it was because I was black. and he wasn't. And it was this idea of she's an independent woman, she doesn't need a man to take care of her. And I say that because there was another couple, and the man, or this was when they were dating, they weren't married yet, but the man put his wife through college, and everyone's like, he's such a good man. He's such a good man. She really does deserve that. Meanwhile, my husband paid all the bills in the house, and they were like, well, she has a job. She needs to be paying bills. Mind you, these same men have been messaging me these past few months, being like, it's been so long since I've heard from you. What have you been up to? You ain't never messaged me in the 8, 9, 10 years I've known you. But now you want to know. My memory is long. I remember every single instance of you telling me that I don't deserve shit. And now you want to nah. Nah. No. What? And this is what I mean. I'm like, this is so, like, I'm just so disgusted with it, because what did you expect? To constantly be like, to try to bring me down, to try to humble me, to try to make me think, and then to make me think, oh yeah, he's a viable option. No, I don't want you looking at me. I don't want you touching me. I don't want you thinking about me. Like, no. What? Anyway, this it just disgusts me so much, because it's this lack of understanding about the risk that is going on, and for men to still be like, well, I should get all the pleasures of being in a relationship while you expecting nothing of me. And if you expect something of me, you are a crash out bird brain bitch who doesn't understand how the real world works, and who wants to live in a fantasy land. And I'm like, no, you are the one that wants to live in a fantasy land. You are. Because you think, oh, well, I should be able to just get whatever I want out of women that I'm attracted to, and they should expect nothing from me. And if they expect more, then that's their problem. What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, I'm so serious. What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, here's my thing. As a romance author, I actually have a lot of faith in men. I think it's hilarious because I was trying to write men that I think have red flags, especially in my ATV series about the boy. And people were like, these characters are too perfect. I'm like, are you but this is what I talk about. Like, so many romance books have just such problematic red flag men that are romanticized, that when I show someone who has like small red flags, maybe to you, they're big red flags to me. But when I show someone who has like small red flags, you think that man's perfect, because you so used to big things being like, oh, well, this is normal. So, and that's part of the problem, right? Like, we get all of this media that tells us that, like, and I can acknowledge romance is propaganda, usually in the favor of men. This idea, you're going to find a man, and the hardest part is going to be with him, and once you're with him, your life is going to be perfect and amazing. That's the propaganda, right? I can acknowledge that. At the same time, I do have faith in men as human beings. And I'm like, I think you are better than what society tells you you can be. And that's my problem, right? Because I understand the way society works. I understand the way patriarchy works, the way that it impacts and limits men. I understand those things. And I think for me, I am like, I know you can be better than this. And I know society is enabling you to be your worst. And so, in a lot of ways, I have been patient with men. I have put up with some things that I'm not proud of. But at the same time, I'm just like, when I learned that, it just really disgusted me. It really did, because I'm just like, men expect so much out of you in your life. They're not even willing to invest in you, invest in your life, invest in your hobbies, and they just want everything. And I'm like, that is just not fair at all. Right. And I know a lot of women are like, and this is the things that we see platform, are the women who are like, feminism is bad, and it's great when men can pay all your bills. Men are not even capable of taking care of themselves. Men are not even capable of making decisions for their lives. They always have some woman in the background who is making those decisions for them, right? And if you find a man who can make those decisions, good for you. I'm just saying our society does not create those kind of men. They create the monsters. And at the same time, our society creates this idea that like we are never villains. All of us, all of us, regardless of gender, we never see ourselves as villains. We are always good people. We always have good intents. We always have this. We always have that. Very rarely are we encouraged to view ourselves from a third person, right? How could my actions have hurt or harmed someone else? Right? This is the next level of empathy. How could what I have said been interpreted a different way based on this person and their life and what they've been through? How these things, but instead we only view it from our point of view. Like, well, I know I meant this and I intended that, but it didn't come across that way, right? And so how are you going to bridge the gap between what you intended and the impact that it had? We aren't taught to do those things. Men more so are definitely not encouraged to do that stuff. And so it just really creates unequal partnership. For me, I was like not a fan of the whole 4B movement. It seemed very white woman motivated. And I'm like, I get it. I get it. It was your men that was voting for this mess. But I was like, overwhelmingly, Black men were not. But at the same time, what we've seen the past few weeks, people going up for that man, that little man who Renee Rapp said, I'll beat him up. I love her. That little man in prison for a good reason, right? With a Black woman who tried to defend him because she was like, he shot me and I was afraid that he was gonna get shot. So I lied. And y'all like, well, she deserved to get shot. And then you want coochie. This whole situation is angering to me. This is why it's been very hard for me to finish this last book that I'm writing. It's a romance. It's in the ATB series. Because it's so hard, right? Because on the one hand, I'm like, I am writing this character about someone that I knew in real life. He died at 23, but he was a very kind, patient, gentle, responsible friend to me, right? And at the time he died, he had a fiance who's pregnant, and he never got to meet his baby. But I can imagine that he was that way with her as well. So I know like men like that exist. At the same time, I was like, why he have to die and not y'all? I just yeah. It's very hard. I'm not gonna lie, it's very hard to write romance, um, to continue to like push forth this idea that like because I do think romance is necessary for all of our lives, especially for Black people, especially for Black women. I think we deserve healthy, happy, long lasting, fulfilling, satisfaction in our romance. We deserve those things, right? I believe in that dream. But it can just be so hard when you see so many men. And it's not just online, I'm talking about in real life, who do not believe that you deserve shit. So that's all I have in this video. um, I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.